patriot set, red MAGA on the head.
White man, fight back! White man, fight!
Hang 'em up high and sundown. Leave 'em swinging so the folks all know.
MAGA is so interesting to me because they are the biggest crybabies ever. They're in control at every level of government, from Congress to the Senate, the federal courts to the White House. But they are constantly acting like victims under attack from some mysterious multicultural enemy that they made up in their heads.
The demographic for hip hop is like 19 to 35-year-old white American youth. Seems like there is a conscious effort to sort of destroy and dismantle and dilute that generation.
And that sentiment is no clearer than with these MAGA rappers who are creating the soundtrack of the MAGA movement.
One people, one nation, and immigration.
Think that I'm racist, yeah, right. I'm not ashamed because I'm white.
They make music for people in MAGA hats that would tell you they don't listen to rap. From fake white Rick Ross to country rap singers actually putting out songs about lynching people in 2025. To fake white game to corny cringe black Eminem.
Joe Biden was just sharp as attack, and half Kamala follow the aftermath.
And besides the fact that they're all cringe knockoffs of rappers we actually know from the hip hop community, I think more than anything, they embody the victim, bully, MAGA, crybaby movement as a whole.
We're honoring the founding fathers who were white. We're honoring all of the great white men who are being smeared.
And if I didn't mention it before, their music is absolutely trash. But I'm Jew, welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
So in 2025, there are a lot of things that don't make sense. And to me, what makes the most sense in Trump's 2025 America is the rise of MAGA conservative right-wing rappers.
They want rainbows in the classrooms and 15 different bathrooms and white guys that hate black dudes. Where the patriot set, red MAGA on the head.
Diamond grills, big chains, big rings, rapper clothes. They want to look like us, sound like us, move like us, dress like us, but they don't like us. It is the weirdest dichotomy ever.
Yeah, it's like that and we ain't turning back. Hang 'em up high and sundown.
Yeah, this song is crazy. To have a whole song in big 2025 about lynching people is insane. To actually be able to put that music out on streaming platforms and have a whole music video for it.
Leave 'em swinging so the folks all know. Joe Biden was just sharp as attack, and half Kamala follow the.
That's the dude Dax. That's the dude that Tory Lanez pressed and made him apologize on camera.
What's going on? Apologize, my nigga. Apologize, nigga. I got you, bro. Apologize, nigga. I got you, man. Say sorry, nigga. My bad for the Say sorry, nigga. Sorry.
Will get her life taken, riding on a train.
Bruh, he is literally a fake white Rick Ross. He reminds me of the white dude from the Drewski skit that grew up in the hood. Except that dude actually liked black people. This dude, this dude definitely don't wear the Trump chain.
By a nigga when she's repping black. What did you say, nigga?
You got guys like Tom McDonald, Forgiato Blow, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple of others. And this makes a lot of sense to me because conservative white America has positioned themselves as the victims.
Think that I'm racist, yeah, right. I'm not ashamed because I'm white.
I still think that's the weirdest thing. These people are so terrified of losing power and losing control of their country that they're out here marching talking about white man fight back, which is ridiculous. Approximately 74 to 88% of CEOs are white. What power are you fighting exactly if you are the power?
And they started positioning themselves as a victim with the start of the first black president, Barack Hussein Obama.
Things got so much more racist after Obama became president because white people, white conservatives felt threatened at that time that they were losing their power and losing their voice and diversity was taking over. And for them to think people are out to get them when people of color only want equality and fairness, especially when it comes to banking, fair pay, hiring practices, loan practices. We're just fighting for equality, not to erase white people.
In a day, there were rules about things you would talk about publicly. You wouldn't talk about religion and you wouldn't talk about politics, but it just so happened the people who gave these rules to most of America started to be very vocal about their political opinions and their political ideologies once they saw a black man become president.
I was just informed that our president has finally released a birth certificate.
I'm here to talk about the rise of MAGA rap because it makes so much sense to me. As we've seen in the last few years, there has been a lot of angry white people in America.
White man, fight back! White man, fight!
This was in response to Charlie Kirk being killed by a white person from a conservative family at a white college at a mostly white state. Who are you fighting back against, yourself?
Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch.
One people, one nation, and immigration.
We're honoring the founding fathers who were white. We're honoring all of the great white men who are being smeared.
And to be fair, right-wingers have been upset since before Obama became president, but it seems as though when he became president, they turned it up a notch, and that's what led us to Trump.
The right is angry. They're always angry. They've been angry since anyone can remember. They were angry when the Union won the Civil War and they had to give up their slave. They were angry when Reconstruction gave their former slaves the right to vote. They were angry when black soldiers came home from World War I and World War II and insisted on being treated with dignity.
And still didn't get that dignity. They were still treated like second-class citizens. A lot of them didn't get their VA loans and weren't able to buy houses, or if they did, they had to buy houses in red line districts that said where black people could and couldn't live. There was no fairness or equality for those black soldiers.
Having fought for their country, they were angry about jazz music becoming more popular, and then about rock and roll. They were angry when black children tried to integrate schools. The whole history of the American right, whether they called themselves Democrats, Dixiecrats, or Republicans, is a history of rage. And even having, quote, taken back their country, unquote, by putting Donald Trump back in the White House and unleashing Project 2025 on all of us, deleting affirmative action, DEI, black history, black scholarships, black-held jobs in the federal government.
The majority of people that lost jobs in the federal government was mostly black women.
Having driven women out of the military leadership and ended everything from farm subsidies to foreign aid while getting away with an actual insurrection scot-free. They're somehow still angry.
They got away with an insurrection and voted in their president again.
A lot of conservatives believe that they're losing their country. And so it makes sense in a country who has stolen everything from black people that they now are using the genre of rap to push right-wing conservative narratives.
Who won Trump won? Who won Trump won? Patriots pulling up, knocking on the Capitol. Oh, yeah. If you ain't liberal, then they treat you like you human garbage. If you speak up, then you a target.
I've watched these race dynamics play out. I was here when they removed the Confederate flag from the State House. And day by day, after they removed that Confederate flag from the State House, that flag went from a Confederate flag to now the MAGA 2020 or the MAGA 2025 Trump flag.
These people, especially in the South, will never admit what that Confederate flag symbolizes to black people specifically. They'll say it's about their heritage, but their heritage is pro-slavery and pro-segregation, and their ancestors did not want black people free or to have rights. And that's why that flag looks like a Nazi sign to most black people.
This video here by Vic Mensa could kind of explain it way better than I can.
MAGA rappers making country songs about lynching. Like, fam, can't you even get your own genre of music to talk about killing us? They want to be us so fucking bad. But, I mean, if they ain't nothing else, they pathetic. The guilt is deafening because from a deep intrinsic place of knowing, they understand that they owe their entire existence to those that they've enslaved and oppressed. Very few things in their culture are not the creation of black people. The imitation in the MAGA trap rappers, it got me thinking about the ideological basis in the BBL and the lip fillers is the imitation of African features. And the history is crazy. Sarah Bartman, who was a Khoi woman in modern-day South Africa, was used as a grotesque museum display because of her large butt. And shortly after that, Marie Antoinette big bust corset came into European fashion. That was the original BBL.
I did not know that. You learn something new every day.
Like they've been trying to become us. Because a huge part of the DNA of hatred is obsession. And a primary part of the DNA of racism is jealousy. Fixation with genitalia, with athletic ability, artistic ability, science and architecture of Egypt and the Aztecs. So as the hatred and the racism reaches a fever pitch, peep how the imitation do the same.
So this video shows you how a lot of American black culture has been stolen, has been taken from.
And like, not to be the too woke friend, but like literally everything that is popular and trending right now has just been stolen by a black person and repackaged by the whites.
The beloved country music, as Beyonce has showed you, the cuisine, the barbecue, the fried chicken, the Jack Daniels.
So when I started going to school in South Carolina, I started to see white suburban America. And a lot of the times, the wealthiest of kids that I went to school with, they had problems. They were doing drugs. They were trying to pretend they were something they really wasn't. And I started to really understand.
Yeah, anytime I think about people like that, I think about Malibu's Most Wanted with Jamie Kennedy. B-Rad.
Psychosis of people who have it all. They kind of were looking, especially the young people, they were kind of looking for issues.
People like that in the suburbs suburbs, outside of the cities, are why Eminem was so huge in his time. I mean, Eminem was definitely a dope rapper, but they had a white person speaking to white America, speaking to their suburban problems and mentalities.
Where a lot of the Eminem thing came from. When you really look at where Eminem came from, it came from this idea that white America, the real white America, was the ones on drugs, the ones having pew-pews in the schools and things like that. You listen to a lot of his music, and it didn't really make sense to me until I moved down south and I started to see, oh wow.
Middle America, now it's a tragedy. Now it's so sad to see an upper class city.
There's real white poverty here. You know what I'm saying? Where a lot of these Trump supporters come from are places that are forgotten about.
Yeah, a place like that I can think of that I actually ended up driving through for work during Trump's first campaign was West Virginia. I'm talking about every single yard I passed had a Trump sign in it. And I knew then Hillary was in trouble, because when I say every single yard I passed had a Trump sign.
Farmers, they're making less money because the big farm has came in and the corporations have came in and found ways to, manipulate them. And blame Reagan.
Not only that, but farmers now basically voted for their own demise because the policies of this administration are bankrupting them. Whether it's the immigration policy where they won't have enough workers to work their farms, or the tariff policy where they don't have countries buying their products anymore, which means they can't sell them and they're going broke.
Them go to like Minnesota, them go to like some hick town in the middle of nowhere, and you really wouldn't understand it until you actually came to a state like South Carolina, which used to be very rich with textiles, used to be very rich with farmland, was the wealthiest state back in slavery, and you start to understand the racial dynamics of real America more so than these major cities. If you ask me, all of America is very red. It's just that these major cities like in Ohio, like New York City, make these states that probably would be red.
It's always like that. Most states, especially in the suburbs, are red like that. But the big populous cities that have the big populations of people usually are liberal leaning.
And that are thought to be very liberal are very racist. So if it wasn't for New York City, if it wasn't for Cleveland or Cincinnati, a lot of these big blue states would actually be voting red. And so these guys like Tom McDonald and Forgiato Blow, they're doing what they tell rappers not to do. They always tell rappers, don't speak on politics. It's said to not be beneficial to you.
No, they're galvanizing their audience. They see how people are feeling. They see this MAGA movement, and they know they can benefit from it by regurgitating their talking points on a beat.
You'll lose a lot of endorsements. You'll lose a lot of this. You'll lose a lot of that. But it seems as though it's working for the Tom McDonald guy. It's working for the Forgiato Blue, who is going to these rallies.
MAGA supporters out here, people who love God out here.
Going to these Trump rallies and making songs for Charlie Kirk and
I am Charlie Kirk, I am Charlie Kirk, Charlie.
Making these anthems about lynching people.
But if you do, bitch, we'll hang you in a fucking...
That's still crazy to me. That is so fucking disgustingly crazy to me. A lynching song.
America is starting to look at itself, right? Because racism, they always say we never punish the Confederates.
What Kanye said, racism's still alive. They just be concealing it.
It's like they got monuments. Like I drive on Robert Lee Road, right? There's roads where I'm at where they're named by Confederates. These people are speaking for people who feel as though they are now the victim.
I don't care if I offend you. I was put here to upset you. They want war, they don't want peace. They want defund the police.
Bruh, he is dressed just like a black rapper, but probably hates black people. Wearing a Nike Tech sweatsuit, baggy white sweatsuit, Celine glasses. He's just cosplaying as a black person, rapping to white conservatives that don't like black people.
We the people won't stop his MAGA nation till they kill me.
They have maneuvered themselves into this victim position. They're going against DEI and wokeness, and they're going against mainstream narratives, which is kind of crazy to me because it's usually, if you look at the economics, if you look at CEOs, they're majority white men.
A majority white men. What was it, 78 to like 88% or something like that? Again, you own the White House, the Congress, the Senate, federal courts, big business. Who is your enemy? They remind me of Jordan from that Last Chance documentary where he said he had to create an issue or create an enemy in order to play better so he could go out there and ball. That's what these conservatives are doing. They're creating a big boogeyman, a big enemy that they can all rally and fight against. It just doesn't exist. People of color in this country just want fairness and equality and to have the best opportunities that they can. But for whatever reason, that threatens these white conservatives where they have to march and say, white man, fight back.
The ones that are pushing these DEI or these woke things and black people and brown people get the blame. We're going to take our country back. ICE is running through all these different communities, going to construction sites where people are just trying to make an honest living, and they're taking people and they're separating people from families, and there's all different type of horrible stories that are going on. So it makes sense to me that you see a rise in this.
Hope you got your bags packed. place you're about to get deported. Oh Lord.
I don't think anything else makes any more sense when you look at the obsession that people have with black people, have with brown people.
Obsessed.
Like, literally house music. Everyone's obsessed with house music now, and it's like, you guys would hate the origins of house music. Like, in the...
She's speaking facts. I only know of house music from Baltimore. That was the first place, at least, that I heard house music. If they knew where house music came from, they would want no parts.
Black and gay underground of Chicago, like, y'all would not vibe there, but now that, like, John Summit and Diplo have gentrified house music, y'all love it. Like, that's how every single music has started. Same with rap. Obviously with rap, it did not start with white people.
Whiteness doesn't really exist. When a lot of poor Europeans came after the Civil War, they've adopted this white mentality because they saw that being black was bad.
Right, Irish people and Italians weren't considered white when they first immigrated here. They ended up gravitating toward the white side and getting as far away from blackness as possible because there are benefits to it. Just like a lot of immigrants of color do. Asians, for example, gravitate towards being white and get as far away from black as possible because it's beneficial.
They adopted whiteness, came over as Italian, they came over as Irish, they came over as German, but then they come to America and they lose that and they strip that and they become white, which white has no identity. And the closest thing to an identity that white has in America is war, is violence, is murder, is kill, is hate, is fear.
It's colonization.
Forgiato Blue, and they're literally emulating, right? Like, shout out to Drewski, because this is...
Folks always tell me like...
That's exactly what I was talking about. Drewski made a whole skit that looks and sounds exactly like the dude Forgiato.
Boy, you can't be doing all that. I grew up on that side.
On that side, yeah.
But I was raised by these folks.
Are you a rapper or singer?
Rap artist, Forgiato Blue.
I think Tom McDonald said that hip-hop was designed and created to destroy white people.
The demographic for hip-hop is like 19 to 35-year-old white American youth. That's the primary demographic. It almost seems like there is a conscious effort to sort of destroy and dismantle and dilute that generation.
Rap was made for us, by us, to tell our stories to us, to inspire, to motivate, to elevate us. It had nothing to do brainwashing or destroying another culture or a generation of white people.
Seems like there is a conscious effort to sort of destroy and dismantle and dilute that generation.
What?
Hip hop has done more damage to black and brown people than racism in the last 10 years.
But then you got Tom McDonald saying it in reverse about, you know, and it's just like when you position yourself as the victim because you really have no problems. If you look at the economics, it seems as though black wealth is dwindling and white wealth is getting...
They literally had to create boogeymen to rally against.
More, and of course that may be because the 10% makes up for 50% of the spending. You know, that 10% is...
I think they said billionaires like Zuckerberg, Musk, Bezos, that their net worths have basically tripled in the last 4 to 5 years.
Oh, while the bottom 50% has none of it, right? Maybe that's the case, but these guys are speaking for people who feel as though they've been left out. And it isn't because of DEI. That's what rich, wealthy, white people want you to think, that it's the brown person's fault, or, you know, they want us to have this culture war instead of a class war.
Just a reminder that the billionaire elite wants us fighting a culture war, not a class war. Right now, the people in power are trying to start a civil war, and they want us to have a culture war, not a class war. When someone asks, what is a woman? They're trying to start a culture war, and they want to distract you from the fact that 0.1% of this country owns 5 times as much wealth as the bottom 50%.
That's true, but they've also sold white people on the idea that no matter what, you're still better than black people. You're still better than people of color. If there's a poor white person and a poor black person, at least the white person is white, and society looks at them better than a poor black person.
They're servicing a need. They're servicing a market. There's a demand for people to speak up, and so Tom McDonald, Forgiato Blow, have positioned themselves in to fulfill that void.
Argue to say that our song is actually the total opposite of that. It's empowering people. It's hopefully encouraging people to stand up and speak their mind.
Because let's be real, who are the number one consumers of hip hop? So why not get your hip hop without all the guilt, without all the you can't say the N-word, without all of this, even though Forgiato Blow has said the N-word, making songs about lynching and all of these different things. This makes sense to me. I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I have the Back to the Future soundtrack here.
Back to the Future DVD. I don't even have a DVD player, but
my favorite movies. But in Back to the Future 2, there's a timeline where Biff, shout out to Biff, right? He goes back to the Auburn.
The fact that they made Biff Tannen look exactly like Trump is wild.
And he becomes the president. And I feel like we're in this timeline.
That's going to be our timeline as soon as Project 2025 is complete.
Most of the musical genres in America, if not all of them, gospel, rock, jazz, you name it, country, they all started from black people because they were about oppression. When you speak into the heavens, you're speaking for somebody to come save you due to the oppression that you're facing. And now that these people see that and feel as though that they're oppressed, this is what we get.
Tripping, I guess God just felt us different. The devil is a Democrat. I got patriot tears dripping on the dead home.
We get MAGA raps, we get conservative raps, right? And as you see, even Young Thug lean into it. Drake kind of says stuff that feels very MAGA. He's aligning himself with the Morgan Wallens, and he's aligning himself with the Aiden Rosses and these weird manosphere adjacent, MAGA adjacent podcasters and streamers. He says things like, "Why you rapping like you're trying to get the slaves free?" This is bubbling. This is festering something because people believe that black people need to get over slavery. Now we need to move on.
It's still wild that we're expected to get over slavery. If we bring it up or bring up points of how it still impacts the black community today, we're crying about it or blaming the man. When we're simply pointing out facts of why the black community is so far behind because these other communities and cultures had such a head start. But when we talk about, we're crying about it.
These same talking points that has been going on before me and then will continue to go on. From the America that I'm seeing, from what I've been seeing since Obama became president, I remember one time Fox News was like, you need to find somebody else to sign the next stimulus bill. And it was like, this exists. This is real. This rhetoric has never went anywhere because we never dealt with the Confederacy. And actually, if you ask me, the media has done everything to double down on this image of black being the face of crime, being the face of negativity.
Even though the stats don't show that.
Negative things in America. If you look at it, it's been doing that for a while now. When you look up the stats and statistics, that's not even the case. I think it was a very Operation Playbook, as we didn't even punish the Nazis. We brought a lot of the scientists in. We brought a lot of their experts in. If you ask me, it makes a lot of sense how our neighborhood started to become the ghetto, which the ghetto is the name that where the Jewish people stayed at. This makes a lot of sense that these people feel as though they losing their world. The birth rates of a lot of white people are declining. They think that there's this great replacement theory that it's happening. They somehow believe that black folk got the power.
Dope video from Read My Soul. Make sure you go check out his channel. MAGA rap and MAGA rappers blowing up is just a reflection of the times. But these people playing victim and making entire anthems about it really reminds me of Nick Fuentes, who said when he was coming up, all white men were made to feel guilty. I don't think that was ever the case. I think people finally felt like they had a voice during the Obama administration to call out some of the toxic, misogynist behavior that they saw. But of course, these guys have to be victims and make anthems around it. Still, more than ever, I feel like a lot of people are using their platforms and their voices to continue to call out the fuckery. But thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.